Here are the supplies for the 4x8 shed that I'm going to be making, which will be used to house our water filtration system. We have pretty good water, it's well water, but just take out any possible impurities and soften it up to help save the appliances in the home. These are not all the supplies. Here I'm just getting a layout. I'm going to put it just off of the corner of the home.
Picked up all the materials from Home Depot. This is how the edge looks, the one they gave me. Looks nice and square, right? Yeah, very nice.
The center of the shed will be off the corner of the home, which will be 4 feet on either side, obviously, just getting things leveled out here. There's going to be a lot of time lapse in this video because my editing skills are not up to par just yet, so time lapse seems easy. Plus, this is a multi-day project. Pretty simple. I'm using plans from a company called Everyday Shed. It's a YouTube channel that I follow and I watch, a few of their videos here and there. They give good tips. I actually was designing a shed myself and figuring everything out, but then I figured this is the first time. I might as well use somebody that knows exactly what they're doing rather than just winging it, as this is an important part of our home. Here I'm just putting down the rocks to help support these blocks that I showed previously, and then I have the 4x4 pressure treated wood that will go on top of these blocks. It will not be secured to the ground. I will be securing the base of the shed itself. There'll be 2x6 pressure treated with the floor joists. I'll be screwing those down into the 4x4, which you'll see shortly. Now I'm just cutting down the outside frame, the 4x8 base, and then the floor joists, I believe they're called. Again, my terminology for framing and all this is not up to speed. This isn't something that I've done previously, so this is actually my first, you could call it, framing project ever. That's why I want to start off with something a little more simple, even though I can make simple things easily complicated. You saw there, I was trying to check the diagonal to make sure everything goes square, or as square as it can be. Now we're getting ready to put on the floor. Before I do that, I put down some weed barrier, then we'll throw some rocks on top there just to hold it down. I will be putting down the liquid nails, followed by screws. I drilled through first just to be a little more secure, and 6 inches around the perimeter with the screws, and I believe it was 12 across the floor joist.
Alright, this is the first day of the shed. It's just the platform getting built. It is by no means square, or like perfectly square. It's pretty close. It was a little off even with checking all the diagonal angles, but overall it's solid. It's quite level. It will work and serve its purpose. Hopefully I can come back tomorrow and start getting the walls up. Be finished with it hopefully this weekend.
So this is the following day. I'm getting ready to frame up the back wall and the side walls. Another project, or part of the project, that I have not done previously. Try to use these sawhorses to help frame things out. Realize quickly that I just need to go on the ground, which is much more level and a little bit more safe. I'm going to be doing everything 16 on center. This back wall, as I'll discuss later, is 8 feet tall approximately. I did use screws for all the framing versus nails. I figured it would be a little more secure. I had them available. Then I put in this, what is it, the T11 siding that doesn't require any primer or finishing. Eventually, I would like to finish it, but as it stands currently, this is just in its raw state, and it has stayed that way for some months now. Going around putting nails 6 inches around the exterior and then 12 inches along the center. Developed my own technique because I got bored and tired of nailing, so I just kind of scooted along on my butt. I didn't realize how out of shape I was till my forearms were burning when I was nailing everything in. Here I'm getting the sidewalls ready. I believe these are about 6 feet tall, and again 16 on center. This is where some fun begins. Trying to get this wall up, as you'll see. Not the most successful right here. For some reason I was holding the drill. I was trying to do this so to drop it. Um, but this does not go as planned. Slides off the back here. Had to reset, and then things went a lot better. Might have said some choice words. All right, here we go. Attempt number 2. It's really not that heavy. It's just more awkward. Success. Getting those sidewalls up, getting everything leveled, getting those screwed together, and then getting it screwed into the platform.
Day 2 of the shed. Not quite a full day, but a half day. We got 3 of the walls up, the siding on the back wall, which is 8 feet. These side walls are a little over 6 feet there, but coming together. No big mishaps. Almost dropped that wall, but kind of did. See, I've had to put a lot of nails in here, especially did about 6 inches all along the edges, the perimeter. We sunk screws down there, along there, up.
I don't remember if this is the next day or it might be the next weekend. I can only go out on weekends and days off for a few hours here and there. But I'm getting ready to build out the front wall, which will have the door, which will have 2 swinging doors together. It'll show shortly how I went about making those and cutting them in. Something I didn't mention before, I do have a double top plate on those side walls that sticks out to overlap that front wall to help lock it in. I know I've seen some people, and even with the Everyday Shed where I got these plans from, they do some of them where the bottom of the door will actually, the 2x4 will go all the way across, and then they'll cut that out before placing the door. The plans that I had didn't have that, but when you watch it on their YouTube video, it does show them cutting out that bottom 2x4, which would make things a little bit stable or more stable, but it still worked out well. So then I locked in that top plate with that front wall. I had everything level, screwing it in. Then I started directing my attention more towards the roof. I don't know if you call it the trusses and that back plate again. Um, terminology is not my strong point when it comes to framing. Cutting out all the rafters, trying to learn how to do the bird's mouth. Getting one of them complete, and then you just use that one as a template for the rest of them. Putting more of that T11 siding that will go on the entire structure except for the roof.
It's the third half day working on. I was able to get the front wall up with the header. I think overall it went well. I did have a gap in between here. I don't know if it will matter. It seems pretty sturdy. It's not a house, so it's not going to be bearing too much weight. Then I was able to get those, I'm calling them trusses up there. They went okay. Not 100% as planned. I did it again. I know how to correct the mistakes that I made. Got this wall on. I have to put some trim on here to hide up these uneven corners. I also got the other wall on, and then I'll have to trim off the kind of that angle up there, flush. And then I think I'm gonna be coming back tomorrow and putting on the roof, hopefully, at least the insulation panel, and then I might put up some trim. Depends. I have a busier morning, so I don't know if I'll make it out here or not. But it's coming along nicely. 3 almost half days, and first time doing it. It's decent. It will definitely function.
Cut down the T11 siding into size for the front wall. And then using a circular saw, I'll cut out the door, and then I'll actually use these panels, as you'll see later in the video, to help build the door. Or actually, it's going to be part of the main structure of the door. And as I mentioned, I'm cutting off those angles, and then I will use a piece of those angles to fill in a gap up above on that top left corner. It doesn't line up exactly with the lines, but it's covered up by trim, so you won't even see it. Get prepared so I can put the roof on. Using a little 2x4 to help me catch this piece of roofing. This roofing has an insulated bottom. It is hot. I'm in Arizona. I mean, we get 120-degree days in the summer, so I want to keep everything as cool as I can in there. All right, just showing what I did for the day. Got the front siding on. I don't know if you call that fascia around the edges, whatever, trim, as well as the insulated OSB up top. All right, next up is the roof. Getting that all trimmed out. For whatever reason, I do not have video of me putting the roof on. I'm pretty sure I recorded it, got lost, or maybe sometimes the camera runs out of memory because I'm using my phone. But for this, a little trick that I learned, on YouTube is to flip the circular saw blade around. It helps cut through this a little bit better. It did a great job. I smoothed it out with the angle grinder. And then I'm preparing things for the actual frame of the doors. Be doing this on the garage floor to help keep things level. Using a 2x4 as a spacer to keep everything even. If I had to do this again, I'd do pocket holes. I just kind of angled everything. It was a little bit of a pain. All right, like I said before, T11 siding, that's going to be the front of the door. We just screw it all in together. Do that for both of them. All right, here's the doors. It's upside down right now, but that's the front side of it. There will, there's my finger. There will be trim all along the edge and matching trim to go around the actual door frame itself. And then here's the inside of the door, what it looks like. Get some bracing, cross bracing, these cables they make so that the doors, I can follow my finger okay, up through there so that the doors don't bend either way over time. I still need to pick up hardware. Not gonna hang them today, but they turned out pretty good, I think. If my cuts on the panels were straight, it would be a lot better because the frames themselves are square, but the panels are not by any means because I use the circular saw freehand. Man, there's definitely some cuts that are off, so specifically like this corner, it's hard to tell, but it just like curved in on the top of the door when I cut that, but it'll work. Putting the underlayment on prior to putting on the metal panels, which I did not record. Show you what I'm going to do here on the edge. So I'm going to actually tack it all along the back. I'll end up having this folded down and tacked to it all the way down there. Just look at it from the side. You can scrape that sticker off. Come down this ladder and kind of show. Alright. So I'm going to put kind of drip edge and I'm going to put trim all along here as well as all along there. This is by no means even. I need to cut that up. I have my actual shed is not fully square. Look at it. This front edge, oh man, I have to trim that up too. It's definitely smaller on this end, not as long. I'm gonna have to put a drip edge over the front of this. I might just do a drip edge, not trim over that. And then obviously on the side here, this is by no means even, so I'll have to trim that up and then put some trim the metal and then put a piece of trim on it to make it look better. And then obviously trim all the way around. Okay. Now I'm getting ready to hang doors. Another task that I have not completed before. It ends up being a little bit challenging. I figured to get a couple of the hinges on first, and then get the door situated. These are just furring strips, so when I cut through this side, there's tear outs. I'm probably going to have to replace this whole strip, but I'll worry about that later. Kind of looks like garbage. Use the circular saw to try to even up those edges. That's what I was talking about, and I cut through the furring strip there. So it looks like everything's going great, and then I realized, oh, these doors are not lining up because my holes are not square. Because that So I had to remove a lot of the framing of the door, and then you saw me saw down the edge to try to make it a little more even so it would shut. Now I'm just putting in that, I don't know if it's like a locking bolt down into the shed to hold that left door stable, putting on some hardware here. Applying the third hinge on each side, and then I will replace the trim and the framing to the door itself. The third hinge on the right door, as of now, the wind caught it and it bent, so I actually had to take that off, so we only have two hinges on that side currently. It gets very windy out where we live. Putting some of that drip edge up. And now I'm measuring, I'm going to do more trim around these front corners. Eventually, I'd like to paint all this trim and caulk it. I mean, it's been months, but I've had other projects to do and other things to get ready. We weren't actually moved out here yet. But I'll need to trim up the back of the shed. Here goes a better view of what that trim looks like. It looks a lot better. I mean, they're furring strips, so it's nothing fancy, but it would be nice to put something over the top of them so they last a little bit longer. They've already changed color and start to yellow after a few months, but overall it makes it look a lot better. I'm happy with it. Now we put in a solar fan to help cool down the shed a little bit. My initial location wasn't going to work, so I used the jigsaw to cut a hole out in a more central location. Pretty simple. Put it in, screw it in. It fired right up. It works well. I'm happy with it. All right. Then we put in a vent on the opposite wall down at the bottom to help draw cool air in. Although in the summer it's just hot, just more or less circulate air. The water filtration system I put in there, it's not cheap, and I want it to last. Didn't get the hole even initially. I had to go back and trim it up a little bit, but pretty simple process. A few screws in there, and it's working out well. All right, lastly, getting suited up, put in some insulation just along the walls. The typical, I believe it's R13, that Pink Panther insulation. Pretty straightforward. I stapled in a little bit on the edges on a few of them if they didn't want to stay. Cut it to size. I probably will go back and put some on the roof eventually. I have not yet. And the shed, it stays relatively cool. This is the almost completed project. I'd say it's about 85, 95% completed. I still need to caulk things, put trim on the backside, and I'm probably end up painting the trim as well. But for now, I just had to get the structure up so I could start getting the water filtration system in there and hook it up to the house. That's the most important thing to get us moved in there. So it will function greatly. I'll put out another video, hopefully in a week, maybe 2 weeks, showing how I've ran the water from the bottom of the house and put the water filtration system in. So I appreciate you watching, and hopefully you tune in next time. Thank you.